Okay, we have exactly 45. Wait, let me fix this.
Should I just hold my mic? I think it's easier if I just hold my
Ako mas
mic.
gusto ko yung naka-hold yung mic ko.
Yeah. I think it feels much more intentional if I hold my mic each.
Good morning, guys. It is a beautiful Saturday here at St. Kilda. Just like what Peter said, we just got here at St. Kilda Beach, and we were actually planning to go here since last week because
Yeah,
we're constantly like checking the weather. Like,
Yeah, the
when's
past few
the
days it
hottest
hasn't been,
day?
it hasn't been the best the past few days.
Mhm.
But today and tomorrow, a beautiful sunny weather.
So definitely like a good and the best weather to go out and about, go to the beach, just
Yeah, we
walk
thought of
around,
filming
lounge around.
a podcast episode outside.
Yep, definitely a good chance, just like what he said, to film a podcast episode outside.
I mean, there's a good amount of people, but it's not as crowded or as busy. So, yep. And we've been what have we been doing? We just took some photos for Paul, and we.
You know, I thought you were asking like how my week has been because
I mean, how
we're
are you?
wrapping up
Okay.
the week already.
Okay, let's
But
do that.
yes, okay. So let me first start by saying that I'm currently unemployed, so I just lost my job, and that's totally fine. But my week has been really hasn't been that bad because I tried to be really productive and as much as possible, just like what you've said, savor the moment that you have your free time. Because once you get like a job, I mean that's a good thing. But at the same time, then you'll start to lose like your personal time.
Yeah, because I was telling him that when he first got a job, I think it was around 2 weeks when I didn't have one, and similar to him, I just did random things on a day, and I was just telling him that it's not as bad to be unemployed for like a couple of days, because maybe you can just lounge around and then go back to a routine again.
Yeah, so that's what I did, and I managed to put up 3 videos now on YouTube. I'm trying to create
Yeah.
like this mini
What a good job for
Pablo
him.
TV series where I just film like day-to-day living, super easy and not too demanding in terms of like the work of filming a video because I'm just literally like filming what I do in a cafe or what I browse in the internet. But yeah, super chill. How about you? How's your week?
I mean, tangent, guys. I keep on squinting because of the sun, but yep,
Do you want
the
some
same.
sunnies? I do have sunnies.
Does it look nice? Anyways, oh, it's so much better. Now I can see everything so much clearer.
Yeah, so how's your week?
Um, Pretty same. I mean, we've been finishing quite late at work, and I've been wanting to read after work, but I couldn't because I was always so tired, and just end up watching some shows. There's the new monster show that came out. It's the Ed Gein story. So yeah, I've,
Yeah.
we've started last night, but we haven't been able to
Because he was too tired
finish
to
it,
watch.
Yeah, we was like just close it and just watch it probably later tonight.
Yeah, that's how we've been so far. Let's get started
I
with
mean,
this
what do we
podcast
want to
episode.
talk about? Because I was re-listening to one of my favorite podcasts. Would say channel. It's the Mel Robbins podcast, and the episode that was about feeling lost in your 20s, and I recommended it to him, and
Yeah,
he
I actually was listening to it while I was working out earlier.
because I just wanted to retell and quote her of her
Great
a
scattering.
great, yeah. The main topic was the great scattering.
And-
I think it's a genius.
Definitely
Really
genius. And I think that's the topic for today's podcast. So
It's about the great scattering. I was just want to reiterate from on her behalf how great it is. First of all, I think everyone under 20s should listen it. On top of that, also parents.
Parents should definitely
because
listen to
I
it.
think it will give them kind of a point of view. Also a reminder of how they felt under 20s and how
No, it's
Or
more.
like-
It's more
like-
so like how, I mean, the difference of how they were when they were in
Yeah,
their
in the
20s
20s.
to the people. I mean, to people like us who are in our 20s, like especially in the
Yeah.
20th century. But yeah, that is today's podcast episode. So Peter and I are just gonna talk about that now. Okay, so I feel like we should talk about first how when did you start listening to Mel Robbins? Because I feel like people would want to know, like, why are you listening to her?
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, like, why? I mean, how did you discover her?
So, as we know, I work in a warehouse, and most of the time, I'm just doing mindless work.
Mm-hmm.
So, and fortunately, in our workplace, they allowed us to wear an AirPod,
Headphones,
yeah, an
AirPods.
AirPod, not a headphone, because we only do
And
like,
they don't allow headphones.
of course, because we're only allowed to do
Oh, one ear.
one
Oh,
ear.
okay, okay.
So I was looking through podcasts, and it was that kind of time of my life where
Mm-hmm.
I just graduated and I didn't know what am I, for most of us, what we are doing in our lives. So I was just looking to some podcasts. I knew some beforehand, but haven't properly
Dive into like
dive into
listening.
one. But and I thought of this time as an opportunity to kind of, how do I make this more productive
Mm-hmm.
than it is?
Mm-hmm.
Because at first I was just listening to
Music.
music, but I kind of got bored with it.
Yeah, because if you're counting the songs, it'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, the 10 music, so like
Yeah,
30
so
minutes or
I feel like,
something.
yeah, my mind is just expecting something.
Mm.
Rather, if I'm listening to a story or a podcast episode,
It
I'm
kind
like,
of puts you off your head, in
yeah,
your
I mean,
head was like
yeah,
thinking, when's the shift gonna end or something
yeah,
like that. Yeah,
exactly. Because with music, you kind of calculate
the
the
timing.
time,
Mm.
but on podcasts, you're into the story, or like you're invested to what the speaker is saying.
Saying, yeah.
So that's for the most part why I started it. And then for the Mel Robbins podcast, since I was kind of course, winter blues, so I was finding a podcast that would make me feel kind of, put me on a better mental state, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my. Side note, the wind is so strong. I hope the camera won't fall. Anyways,
So yeah, so now let's talk about the episode, which is the
feeling lost on your 20s.
yeah. So this was the episode that Peter asked me to listen before filming this podcast.
Because I was telling him that I wanted to talk about it, how good it is. So on Mel Robbins' recent book, the Let Them book, she talked about the three stages of in your 20s. So first is the Great Scattering, which what we're focusing on today. So she was saying, nah, people go through this system where from early childhood until their early 20s, they go through school and have the same set of friends, or
Kind
not
of
even
like knowing what the next chapter is.
Yeah,
Like there's a
not
step by step guide.
yeah, not even the same set of friends, but like seeing the same people, and then going from the first grade to the other, and knowing what to achieve and what you can achieve, and knowing what to expect rather than this uncertainty.
Yeah.
Whereas when you graduate, you basically move on to a different timeline. Now you're making decisions. You're learning how to make decisions
Yeah.
on your own.
And at the same time, like just to top off what you said, you like for example in school, yeah. So there are these competitions, and then you know that if you work hard, you're gonna get that specific goal that of winning the competition.
Yeah.
But when you're like after school, like when you're in your 20s, what they tell you is that you just have to work hard, and at the end, you'll get a reward. But the problem is that, I mean, it's not a problem, it's a fact. But the thing is, as people who are used to like having that sort of timeline and that date of when they are gonna
Yeah.
get or achieve something, I feel like it's very much differentiating to how it feels to be in your 20s, because you just have to work hard, but you never know when is it gonna come. When are the fruit of your labor is gonna come?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's very much a culture shock for us. But I just know that everyone's going through it. Yeah, it's just really shocking, and also kind of like it really tests how you deal with situations, because it's a big change. So yeah.
Yeah. So she was saying how for the first time in our lives, There is no system, there's no timeline that we have to follow, that we're on our own. So it is only normal to feel kind of lost and don't know what to do and what's the next step and what not to do. So this kind of gives you this reassuring feeling, especially in our situation, in Paul's situation, where he kind of in his
In this
gray area.
gray area, gray
I don't
phase
know.
of my life.
Yeah, which is he kind of feeling down because he doesn't have that routine. But
Yeah.
she was saying how maybe take grace of ourselves, like give grace to ourselves, knowing that everyone feel this way, because it's everything is scattered, and you shouldn't put a burden on yourself that you have to do everything at this stage, at this point of
Yeah.
your life, and also do not compare, because
Ye-
everyone's on their own timeline. I mean,
Everyone has their own timeline.
It
Yeah.
is gonna happen for you at some point, as long as you're doing like step by step
Yeah,
towards there.
that's the
You were
thing.
saying?
What I was saying earlier, like you never know when is it gonna happen. So I feel like that's the part where it's frustrating for most people. But yeah, it's definitely comforting knowing that it does happen to a lot of people. And yeah, just like what you've said, with people having different timeline in terms of like success or even like attaining something or having this new chapter in their lives. Because I was listening to it earlier as well, and then she said that for example, you're almost 30 and then suddenly you're single and then one of your best friends is getting married. So immediately what are you going to think of? Immediately you're
You're
going to think of
behind.
like,
Or
oh,
did you
I'm
do
missing my
something
life. Oh,
wrong?
why am I not married yet? What did I do wrong?
Or even getting a job.
Yeah.
Like
Getting
why
promoted,
yeah,
or
why do I
why am
have
I still stuck?
this?
Why
Yeah.
do I feel like, why am I still living with my parents? Why?
I did not see, I mean, I didn't imagine this would be my job, and why am I not there yet? I
Yeah.
thought that
But
I would have my dream job. I hope I have this financial stability. I hope
yeah.
I mean, I thought that I've been moved out. I mean, so she was just saying that she coined the term the great scattered because
We're scattered
yeah,
for the
like
first time.
yeah, that you're not in a system. You have your own timeline. You shouldn't compare yourself to others, but rather you should focus on what you're doing on the present and giving grace to yourselves. I think this is especially also helpful to parents,
Definitely. Yeah.
which kind of
And first of all, guys, this is not coming from like a, like I have hatred. It's coming from a place where they will, I mean, parents will get a better understanding of their children, of like what they're going through. And yeah, continue.
so.
I just wanted to put that disclaimer out there because I didn't want to sound like,
But on top of this episode, I would recommend going to her episode specifically, and the way she just explained it, or maybe even read her book. The way she explained it's magnificent. So the second part is she was saying the paradox.
I haven't listened to this one.
Okay, I want
go.
to explain this is the paradox of choices.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily a good thing that we have
Choices.
a bunch of choices. Connecting to the great scatter compared to probably decades ago when it was our parents'
Time, like their time of their lives.
Yeah, time of their lives. Nowadays, we have social media. People would post their achievements.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah,
That's a-
I mean, a great thing. That's like celebrating those
Moments.
those moments, those milestones
lives,
in their
yeah.
lives is such a great thing. I mean, it is always good to remind ourselves of our milestones, just to kind of give a notice of how far we've become. But on top of that, in comparison, in our 20s, we see all people achieving different things in their lives, being in different
places,
and
being in their dream cities, dream jobs.
yeah, moving in, moving out, having a good partner. I mean, having these wonderful experiences. So we all have this kind of perception
Success.
what is
What the
success
success looks like.
and what is the dream looks like. Rather, years like decades ago, they didn't have that. So
Oh
they
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah.
didn't have these kind of
Social media.
perception of
Basically,
this
they
is
didn't know like what's happening to other people's
yeah
life, and they just
exactly
like meet them.
like they didn't know what 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 giving happiness looks like. For example, they didn't know that at this because comparison is inevitable.
Definitely. Like for example, yeah. So back then, they're never gonna feel like, oh, I'm 25 already. I should have traveled already.
Yeah.
Or like I should have bought this or I should have bought a house. Because back then they wouldn't like. There's no social media to like for other people to see what's going on with your life unless they are your friends or they talk to you or you've met them and shared your story. But on top of that, it's really more. It's mostly just focusing on what you have at the moment back then
Yeah.
for our parents. Yeah.
So I was gonna say that these kinds of expectations and comparisons and perceptions that we build up to our minds, it wasn't as prominent during that time. So now we're having these choices in our lives that it makes us overwhelmed. Basically,
Yeah.
it makes us overwhelmed of what is the path that we should focus on and
Yeah.
what we should attain at this stage of our lives.
What we should achieve, basically.
So now it kind of it overwhelms us what
It does overwhelm us, and at the same time,
What's that?
it makes us compare ourselves.
I mean, don't get us wrong, social media is a great tool for many things. It's just that maybe for
Being able to differentiate what social media is from real life,
Yeah.
and like what, for example, yeah. So obviously, people are gonna post like the celebration already.
because at the end of the day, these celebrations will motivate us. I mean, rather
will.
than I think rather than comparing our present to theirs, we should take this as a map of like what we can achieve and
we can
what
achieve.
we can do, rather than
Rather than what have we not achieved.
yeah,
Yeah.
like having that positive mindset towards it is so basically not. It is not exactly as good to have many choices because now we see these versions of
Life.
people's lives, yeah, in so many so many ways and in so many. I mean, we shouldn't kind of base our life standards towards those around us. I think we should build it in a more in our ways that would make us happy.
That is more like I'm not sure if it's sustainable is the right word, but something that fits what you have at the moment.
Yeah.
Because if we were to like for example, yeah, so you're seeing different versions of like success, you're seeing different things that other people have achieved. I mean, that's a good thing, but I feel like it does come to a cost where you're at risk of comparing yourself. At the same time, you're at risk of trying to count the blessings that you've had.
Yeah.
And I think by being able to differentiate what social media is compared to real life, and also at the same time trying to keep in mind like, oh, what like for that person to achieve something, they could have like I guess that they would have worked really hard. And I feel like trying to see it from that point of view, it makes you feel motivated instead of like very comparative of like what you should achieve at the moment, what you should achieve, but more so trying to know that, yeah, just like what you said, like, oh yeah, I can do this as well if I work hard, or like I, like try to become more diligent of like the decisions that you're. I mean, I'm not saying that you're making like you're making like wrong decisions, but more so just them serving us as an inspiration to an extent.
Yeah. I mean, on top of that, we should give grace to ourselves that
And
I mean, everyone have a different scale of their own happiness and their own wants, and what they see
What is fulfilling
themselves.
for
Yeah,
them?
for perfect. What's fulfilling for them. So I think we should just remind ourselves what's important to us at the moment, and it may take us to a different path compared or a different
Place.
place compared to others, but that doesn't mean you're unsuccessful or not doing well, because every single one is just basically the same, feeling lost and don't know, unsure of what they do. But I think that's why that's the point of the great scattering, because we aren't in the same
I
place
love the Great
anymore.
Scattering.
Yeah, me too. I mean, when I first heard of it, I was mind blown, because
Yeah,
it's
just
such a graceful way to explain
what's happening with our
what's happening, the
what's
feeling of it.
yeah. Also, like Mel Robbins did mention this, like just thinking about that label kind of puts you at ease that, oh yeah, I'm just in the great scattering phase. So instead of like being I mean
There's a bug on your
we
shirt.
can be sad, but instead of being really
Overwhelmed about it.
overwhelmed and questioning about ourselves, and just acknowledging the
It's
fact that
reassuring
yeah, it's
that
definitely reassuring, but just knowing that, oh, we're just in the great scattering phase, like definitely we'll figure it out. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
really good, and
that connects it to pressure.
it does connect into pressure.
I mean, in relates to that, not you shouldn't be pressured by anything. I mean, even though that you are not in a specific place that you expected you'll be, it doesn't mean that it'll never happen to you. Maybe this time of your life does have
Yeah.
a specific like impact that you have to experience. I mean, this time
Yeah.
of your life you have to experience it in
Also,
order.
like, can I just say, we are definitely underestimating what we can do in 10 years and overestimating what we can do in a year.
Yeah.
And that's another Mel Robbins podcast
Yeah,
episode.
maybe
guys.
we should
talk about that
talk
next
about
time.
in the next episode.
But yeah, so
What are your overall thoughts?
my takeaway, because I first of all I wanted to hear. We're here for you guys, basically as people who are actually like taking taking their 20s day by day, that they have not achieved yet something that they. I mean, I didn't want this podcast, first of all, to be a podcast where I'm already like achieved something and just share what I've done, but more so just being that making this podcast as part of my journey as well, in achieving the unknown, basically. But my overall takeaway for this great scattering is that we all have our own timeline.
Yeah.
That's it. I feel like that's definitely it, because once you
That
realize
we
that,
shouldn't beat ourselves up.
yeah, because once you manage to understand that idea that we have our own timelines, then
You're-
there's no pressure, there's no
Let us not punish ourselves
yeah.
for what we have on the current moment. There's always the next day that we could,
Yeah,
start on.
just being able
Working
to
on
wake
that,
up
yeah.
every day is already a blessing. And yeah, just like what I said, once you realize that concept of everyone has their own timeline, then you're not gonna question, you're not gonna compare yourself, you're not gonna be, you know, very much deprive. Yeah, that feeling of like depriving yourself in a way that you put yourself in a situation where the only outcome is if you work hard and you just choose to like stay really questioning or like sad at the moment. But yeah, just being able to know that everyone has their own timeline, then you'll be able to realize and kind of like plan your next step as well. Like for example, if you're like 30 and then, oh, I still haven't done this. Oh yeah, what if I just like work work this much, or like try this new stuff to like kind of find, maybe I'll find my path here. And yeah, just being able to know that you have your own timeline, then you'll start to realize, and everything should be falling into place and everything should start to align. How about
Yeah.
you?
I mean, what can I add on that? I lost my train of thought, but I think That's a great way to summarize
Okay, let me just
the.
rephrase the question so that you'll be able to like. Why is it important for parents to realize as well about the Great Scattering?
Besides the fact that they would
Better understand.
better understand the kind of overwhelming feeling their on their kids on their behalf. I think it's a good reminder of what they felt also during that period of their life, that they've also experienced this, and maybe give grace to themselves, because I mean, for a good parents, what they want is the best for their kids. So it's just natural to kind of think about their future as well. So I think listening to or reading about the Great Scattering. It's a great way to kind of guide them through this phase of their life. Maybe kind of
Um,
be there for them on the steps that they may or may
Learn
want to
how
take.
to
Be a support to them.
yeah, be a better support.
Yeah, rather than the pressure
Yeah.
that we are avoiding. On top of this, guys, we recommend for you to listen
Listen
to
to
Mel
Mel
Robbins
Robbins.
and her episode on feeling
I
lost.
feel
in
like
our
what we
20s.
can do is we should create a series where we should recommend the podcasters. So, like for example, for this episode, we did talk about Mel Robbins, and maybe like you guys would be interested about onto like listening to her.
I mean, even though it is spring in Australia, I'm very much into the Halloween spirit. So I've also been listening
Yeah.
to spooky podcasts. So maybe we can talk about those
Lit.
for a change
episode, yeah.
in the next episode.
Anyways,
So
hopefully, like even a bit, could have like learned or realized something, or we managed to clarify something to you, like anything that you're feeling at the moment. And yeah, definitely enjoyed filming this episode. Do you guys like filming like in an outside location? Because for me and Peter, like it's definitely like a good place to people watch, just see different versions of life, and kind of like puts our thought into place.
I find it easier to
Mm.
talk because I'm not enclosed to a space
Yeah.
where I have to just constantly think of my thoughts. Whereas in an outdoor space, I could just look around and
Watch people.
and give me some ideas on what I can talk about.
Yeah. We'll see you guys, and you guys will hear from us on the next episode. This has been Paul.
And Peter,
And yeah, welcome.
Peter and Paul
The Peter
podcast.
Paul podcast. Thank
Anyways.
you.